And welcome to our first 2025 episode of Rell and Good here on the Crawford Podcasting Network with my great friend, the former Wolverine high wire act, Richard Rellford, who's beaming, flaunting that Block M. He's got his Christmas stuff on, his Michigan basketball sweatshirt. He's got a new microphone. He's just all into 2025 of Rell and Good. And we got a pretty good football team down in Ann Arbor and a pretty good basketball team, as we saw out at Pauley Pavilion last night. You must be on cloud nine right now, Rich.
I am totally on cloud nine, Tom. It's good to be back to do the show. Listen, I'm having so much fun because not only did our Michigan football team win their bowl game and beat Ohio State this year, but our basketball team is amazing. I keep
Really?
telling everybody, I said, you be prepared for us in tournament time because we're going to go a long way because we have size.
Yeah.
And size matters.
Well, I got to tip my hat to you because, we talked about all these new 9 new players or a rotation of different 11 players that just a couple out, Namari Burnett and Will Cheddar are the only holdovers. And you kept saying, hey, you got 2 7-footers, man. In the Big Ten, you can't beat that. And it's holding true last night. And Vlad Golden, 36 points. Danny Wolf looks like Larry Bird out there in a lot of ways. And the fact that they won this game without Roddy Gale Jr., who is from my understanding, it's just a bum knee a little bit. It's not anything serious, but I mean, that's a 12-point guy. That's a starter. When you're down a starter against a team, Mick Cronin's UCLA team is one of these teams that they try to suffocate you with defense because they're not that good offensively. But wow, a lot of step up, and Trey Donaldson was freaking amazing last night.
I told you I love the point guard, didn't I? I love Trey. But what I really liked was Golden. Big fella played his best game I've ever seen him play.
Yeah,
last night.
Yeah.
And did you know? I'm sure you did. That him and Barnett played together at Texas Tech.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yes.
That's something on me, Rich.
Yeah. I heard that last night. Believe it or not.
I mean, I interviewed Namari, and he's going through all the places he stopped. I like this place. I go, well, that's good. You're here 2 years in a row. That's a good thing for you, right? He just came from Alabama was his last stop, I can't keep track of them. I mean, but you know what? It's interesting you bring that topic up because it's like we look at college football and especially college basketball as 1-year entities. I mean, it's like this is a 24-25 team, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters about not worry about who's going to stay, who's going to transfer, or who they need, who's going to go into the NBA and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay in the moment and enjoy it. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, you know what? I was talking to some friends. Remember back in the days when Nick Saban was at Alabama and Bobby Knight, those guys were at Indiana, and they would have players on the bench that they were grooming for the starting positions.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have that anymore.
No.
Because of the transport portal. Kids are not waiting anymore to get good. They're going somewhere where they can play, and they're getting that NIL money. And I tell them, I was talking to my son. I was like, basketball has changed. Sports have changed in college sports because of the NIL.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad. Okay, we can cut the money down a little bit. We pay the kid $10 million. But if you beat Ohio State and Michigan State, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think about Lloyd Vaught, who was on the team when you were a senior. He was coming in as a freshman or something like that. I'm trying to think back how that played out. And he redshirted.
Yes, he redshirted.
I mean, can you imagine? And Lloyd Vaught was a future NBA player. Can you imagine a future NBA player redshirting in today's day and age? Everybody just hop in the portal.
Right, that's what they're doing now. Everybody's hopping in that portal. And like I said, that NIL money is helping these kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now, why would you want to leave early to go to the NBA when you're getting paid in college? There's no reason to leave. Everybody talking about, I have friends come to me and say, oh, well, what if he gets hurt? What if he signed a deal for $5 million and he gets hurt? Well, he got $5 million. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and because the NBA and the NFL is not promised to these kids.
Right.
They may think so, but it's not. I
Right.
was telling one of my friends, Tom, I heard today one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I think Shador Sanders would probably be the number one pick in the draft at quarterback. But that's not what I'm hearing on social media. They're
Yeah.
talking about Cam, the kid from Miami,
Yeah.
Cam Ward. And I saw Cam play, and I got friends down in Florida. They say Shador is way better than this kid.
Well, and this kid is a guy who wanted to break the record at halftime, then quit the team at halftime. So I mean, I look, I know everybody's got to look out for number one and get all that, but man, you're quitting on your teammates. I mean,
You quit on your team.
I couldn't wrap my head around that one. I couldn't, and that goes back Mario Cristo. I mean, that goes back to the coaching. How do you?
Yes.
How is a program, the culture of the program, Rich, tolerate that? Sends a message that maybe this culture is not all that great.
Right. And not only that, if I'm a parent, I'm not sending my kid there.
Yeah.
Because if he's good enough, you'll push him out.
Yeah.
When parents want their kids to go to school for 4 years and get a scholarship and get a degree.
Yeah.
Well, me and you both know it's tough to go back, man. Once you go out to make that money, it's hard to go back.
Well, you got to get back in that whole academic thing. I mean, that's shit. That's hard.
Yeah. And you're not going to care if you make $1 million a year and you're in school. You're not thinking about school.
Right. No.
You're thinking about the next car I'm going to buy when I get out of my class.
There you go. So last night, have you ever recalled a Michigan basketball team that was this streaky in terms of being able to, jump out to big leads? They had an 18-point lead against UCLA last night. They lost the entire lead, and then they got it back, and they ended up winning by 19 points. So that's
19.
what, do the math here. I mean, that's like 30 something swing,
Right.
And it goes back to turnovers. But I will say about turnovers, I know it drives us both crazy, and every Michigan fan, and I'm sure all your former players look at that like, what the hell? We'd be sitting on the bench, we turn the ball over like that. But the fact that I think they had 11 turnovers at halftime. They only ended up with like 15 or 16.
Right.
I mean, they only had 5 turnovers, I think.
In the second half.
So
yeah, they did.
Hey, you got to baby steps, right? Maybe that'll work.
Well, not only that, me explaining to my son as well, because how much we love Wolf and how many turnovers he's having in games. Well, the reasons he's having these many turnovers because he handles the ball a lot. And when you handle the ball a lot as a big guy, because we're used to your guards handling it. We're used to them turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Well, with Wolf, he's like a point forward.
I know the ball's so high up. I mean, look how vulnerable you are.
Yes.
A ball handler is a 7-footer.
Listen, you can't put that ball on the floor. I explain to people all the time, and my kids and my family, Goldman put the ball on the floor last night, and they took it from him. But when he didn't, he scored.
Yeah.
And I tell big kids now, at the Y, stop putting it on the floor. Why are you putting it on the floor? Are you going somewhere? You're not going nowhere. If you're not going to dunk, well, what are you putting it on the floor for?
Yeah.
And so, that's the big thing. But I am, Tom. I'm truly happy with the Wolverines, the basketball team.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask you about this. You being a former player, 4-year starter at Michigan, and Bill Frieder was not like this way at all. But Mick Cronin in the post game, I don't know if you've seen the video, was, let's just say, heavily critical of his team. Okay.
He
literally threw them under the bus. I mean, by name. And he basically declared he leveraged the media as a platform. I mean, it was pretty obvious what he was doing, to send a message to his team. And maybe that's a strategy that's worthy. But he threw them under the bus, and he basically said the only guy that cares about the whole program is himself. And it was uncanny. If you were on his team, Rich, and heard that, I mean, you would have obviously heard it. What would your reaction be for your coach throwing you and your teammates under the bus?
So what is your job as a coach then? Isn't your job is to keep us engaged and to give us more confidence so we can go out and play? If it had been us, we would have all had a team meeting right after. If it would have been my Michigan team, we'd have a team right after, because now we're going to go to one of the assistants that we trust and say, "What's up with Coach?
Yeah.
You don't care anymore?
Yeah.
We've only played 7, 8 games.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the problem?"
Yeah.
Because you can't. To me, when I heard it, Tom, all I did was think about when I was a player. If my
Yeah.
coach had said that,
Yeah.
because you kill the morale of your players. Because now, if you don't believe in us, who will?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I have problems with that. Like I said, now he better hope he wins because we don't know how long he's gonna be there.
Well, I mean, he really set himself up. I mean, the thing is, it's going viral. I mean, it's
Yes,
it's
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 viral.
it's crazy. It's on, it's on sport. It's all over the place. And I mean, UCLA is a pretty high profile program, and so it's going to get viewership. So you got that element. But I mean, Frieder. Can you imagine Frieder doing that to you
See,
guys?
that's the thing, though. I don't think Frieda would have ever did that because Freeze depended on Fisher and Coach
Okay, so
Fisher.
you guys would have gone to Fish and say, "What's the
That's
hell?
right.
What's going on with Freeds?" Right? Is
We
that
we went to Fisher and we went to Boyd, both of those guys, and we'd
yeah,
have said, "What's up with Coach?"
yeah,
You don't kill the morale. Some guys might have got in the portal if we had the portal
yeah,
because they would have felt like, because a lot of guys would have felt like, well, if he don't care, I need to go to a place where Coach cares.
yeah, yeah,
And so it's just hard that I was stunned because I saw it on ESPN, but they didn't mention the players from
yeah,
UCLA. But when I saw it on TikTok, they
yeah.
mentioned the players.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a long version of that. I saw the
Yeah,
long version of that, and it was pretty riveting stuff. And
I was I had
yeah,
my mouth open like this
yeah.
because I was
I mean,
blown away. I was like, "Who's he talking to?"
especially now. I mean, 40 years ago when you played at Michigan, I mean, let's be real. I mean, they were tougher back then, right? I mean, and then
Right.
you weren't exposed to social media, and all these other influences, and you were more isolated in that regard. But still, I was pretty surprised. I don't think Dusty May would ever do that.
Nope.
I don't know
Nope.
of a lot of coaches that would do that, but he did it. Now he's got to live with it. UCLA is a pretty good Big Ten team. The Big Ten is weird, Rich. I mean, you got the SEC, and we were talking about how we're tired of hearing about the SEC in football. I'm really tired of hearing about it in basketball because they're good. They got
Right.
really, really good teams, but they had their best team in the nation got absolutely hammered last night, Texas to Florida. So it's not like they're flawless or anything. But I've never, there's 18 teams now in the Big Ten. I've never recall this kind of balance where there's a lot of good teams, but there's not a great
Yes.
team. And Michigan could be as good as the good, along with Michigan State. This might be like 2019.
Right. You know what? I feel like after I watched the Tennessee Florida game last night and Tennessee being ranked one
Yeah.
and getting blown out of the building.
Oh my God, it's bad. It's
Listen,
bad. They
getting
look
getting
bad.
killed. Right. And so my son said to me, he said, "Dad," he said, "is Florida that good?" I said, "I didn't think so.
Yeah.
But now I do because you
Yeah.
beat the number one." I didn't even know Tennessee was number one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I said, but I'm gonna be honest. Our Wolverines can beat both of them.
Yeah. Well,
Both of
it's
those
not a give and
teams.
take. Now I watched Duke play Pitt. Like, Cooper Flag is a really good player. They got
No,
some
I like
talent.
Cooper.
I mean, that guy's a
I like
dude,
Cooper.
man. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I like Cooper. Cooper's gonna be a high draft pick, if not the
He,
number one pick.
yeah, he sure is. But my point is, I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, if I saw when you watch Michigan and how they let that thing slip away against Arkansas, you go, geez.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. And for that matter, losing to Wake Forest earlier in the year. I mean, but you think about Michigan, Rich, they've lost 3 games by a combined 5 points.
And that's
5 points separates them from being undefeated.
right.
So, I mean, and they're really good. And I know those things even out. But how come there can be from your former player's perspective, how can you be so good one day and then so shitty the next day?
Because you're so good, you start taking certain things for granted. And that's why they turned the ball over. That's why they lost the lead. Because I saw Wolf start experimenting passing. Man, he made
Yeah,
some pass I thought was like, how you make that pass? It
yeah,
was like double team.
yeah,
Because when you get those big leads, you start to relax a lot,
yeah,
which is not good. But the best thing about the Wolverines is they got it back together after they lost that 20-some point lead.
Yeah, but okay. No, that's a great point you're making. But I mean, you've been down this path before. You've had leads against Oklahoma. You let it squander and you got beat. We talked about the Arkansas game. I mean, it seems like you wouldn't be able to relax because look, guys, this happened before, and we're out here at Pauley Pavilion, sacred Pauley Pavilion. I mean, the ghost of John Wooden around here. We better let these guys, even though there's a big Michigan following. I had friends who were at the game, and they said it was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. It was like half and half. I mean, so that was a good thing. But yeah, it seems like it would finally click on that. You got to quit looking at the scoreboard, right? Did you always look at the scoreboard? Did you ever go in a game without looking at the scoreboard? How often did you look at the scoreboard when you had a big lead?
Really, you're not really looking at it because you have the lead. Now you're playing to have fun. Because if you got a 20-point lead and they knock it down to 10, then it changes everything because now it's not fun. Now it's business. Now you got to handle your business. We had fun when we went up by 20 because now everybody plays. The kids who don't even get in the game normally will play. Yeah. So that's what we did. We wanted to keep it on. We wanted to keep scoring as many as we can because we wanted all the guys to play. The walk-ons, everybody. We just, we had this attack mentality that we're not going to just lay back because we knew the Big Ten was just different. Back then with all these big guys, it was different. I was telling one of my friends, do you remember Uwe Blob?
Oh, yeah, Indiana. Yeah.
Indiana.
Germany. Yeah.
We played them when they had Uwe and they had
was Calvert Cheney on it? Who was that?
Cheney wasn't on that kid. We had them when they had Whitman and they had a Kitchell.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were like, these might be the biggest team I ever seen. And now you look at these guys, look at us. We got 3 7-footers.
I know. Yeah.
And so I would love to have been playing at Michigan right now because my defense, I would be getting a whole lot of break points because I'm going to let you go back there to the big fella. He going to swat it out. My guard going to kick it down the floor. That's what we're doing. That's how we're going to score.
Last year Hunter didn't play last year. He was at Kansas. So there was no rim protection last year. You got rim protection. You got rim protection this year,
Right. And you got a lot of it. Because you got a big kid. That kid Goldman. Listen, he's a big 7-foot Butch Wade. That's what I call him. A 7-foot Butch Wade.
You know what? But I got it stops there though, because you can tell Butch this. He makes free throws. And Butch Wade didn't make free throws.
That's exactly yes. We talked about it last night. And you know what? I think Goldman's a really good free throw shooter for a 7-footer.
Yeah.
He's a good free throw shooter.
He is.
And so now
he's smooth, man.
Yeah. And listen, I'm happy we got him. Because that toughness that I always tell people the Big Ten is about, that's what he brings.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so super excited that they're 4-0 in Big Ten play. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I mean, they got let's just say a winnable game Sunday against Washington at Chrysler, and then they go on the road at Minnesota. And you've played up at the barn. It's a kind of a unique place. You're sitting on a stage. You got to worry about that. You got to kind of get that psyche thing going on, right?
That's true.
But I mean, it looks like they're going to get. It's safe to say they're going to get a good jump out of the gate here in Big Ten.
Ohio State beat Minnesota, so I figured and they went down there to beat them.
Anyway, that was double overtime.
Right. And so I figure, we beat them every time there where I played. We didn't win. I don't think we ever lost them, but maybe once in Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because but we didn't like it because it was too cold out there. It's ridiculous.
Okay, my man. It's so great to be back with you. We'll be on next week. We got some great guests lined up.
Yes, we do.
Teammates and your fellow basketball alumni, Rich. So happy 2025 to you, my friend. We got some good episodes coming up. This is going to be a special year, baby.
It's going to be special, Tom. I'm with you.
All right, man. Go Blue.
All right, Chief.
See
Go
ya.
Blue, my man. Later.